We help our children with self-awareness, empathy, interpersonal skills, critical thinking, and much more as part of the holistic education framework. We help students to grow well-balanced mentally, socially, emotionally, and of course, academically. This is what holistic education does. How? It benefits the learner by using the book-based learning of which you can get good grade. How a child sees himself and the world around him start very early in his life. Holistic way of learning used in IIU has a lot of benefits. One, it fosters connections between all aspects of life. It exercises a child's body, mind, social, and are better equipped to face different challenges that comes their way after finishing school. Since this framework involves physical activities, children enjoy learning more and leading schools across the world like IIU lay special emphasis on integrating sports, extracurricular activities, and hands-on learning into the academic curriculum to ensure the all-round enrichment of children. We ensure children find relevance between learning and their personal experiences. This is what holistic education offers. For all kids who do not like a particular subject, the most common reason is that they cannot visualize or find its relevance in their own lives and thus get bored. Holistic learning addresses this concern wonderfully by creating unique and personalized learning experience so that a child understands a concept and not just memorize the facts. When children are able to relate the concept they are taught at school with something they have seen or experienced, they naturally attain a better understanding of things, and this ultimately leads to improved academics. Thirdly, the benefit of holistic education offered by IIU is that it creates a channel or means between home and school. How? Studies reveals that children spend over 13% of their time awake in school, making it more like their second home. However, for effective learning, there should be a synchronization between home and school. If parents are not actually involved in their children's education, they cannot provide the guidance their children needs. Holistic education we offer at IIU encourage active involvement by not just parents, but the entire community. In addition, the holistic learning framework takes education outside the classroom and into the everyday lives of students, which make it even more engaging and hands-on for the children to learn and grow. Fourthly, by the use of holistic education we offer at IIU, it encourages mental, connective thinking, creativity, and curiosity. Holistic learning strategies encourage us to think and not just to memorize. When children learn via practical section, arts, crafts, sports, and other fun activities, they naturally learn more. That's because experimental learning removes chances of brain fatigue and instill curiosity and critical thinking in children. Besides it, It has been seen that children who receive holistic education becomes emotionally more secure, happy, and positive. They are all better and able to exercise logic and reason in everyday situations. Conclusion. Irrespective of the worries and challenges of COVID-19, one thing that comes out very strong is that person's character and willpower help determine how he or she relate to the situations. And ideally, character building starts early in life and is as important as getting good grades. Character building is the core of holistic development, which helps to ensure that children grow strong, not only academically, but also morally, physically, and intellectually. Holistic education is all about collaboration, communication, critical thinking skills, creativity, 21st century skills, character formation, mannerism, conflict resolution skill, core academies, healthy social skills, hands-on lessons, instill curiosity. It gives room for better communication and social skill. It allows the use of creative skills so that one can easily connect in any subject. Therefore, for effective development and management, we need to embrace holistic education. I believe with this little analysis of holistic education being summarized, my excellencies, the honorable speaker, will buttress more on it. Thank you, my most welcome speakers and moderator.
Wow, wow. We thank Professor Charles for this wonderful welcome note as well as introduction to what IIU is objected for. Let's give him a round of applause for this wonderful presentation that he has given us. Kudos and God bless you for your well delivery always. We'll be calling upon you and always you will be delivering. If you care to know, he is actually the African head. That's the director for African continent. And I might say that I've learned a lot from him within these few days. And he lives whatever he always say. And thank you, congratulations once again.
Thank you.
So without much time wasted, our next speaker is in the person of Dr. Professor Ravinda Rena. He is a profound academic and a distinguished scholar in economics, writer, motivational speaker, a public intellectual with all over the continent. If we want to actually talk about Mr. Dr. Professor Ravinda, it will take us a lot of time for us to finish his achievement. He is an endowed person and knowledgeable in terms of academia and social life, all aspects of life. And we've seen him over and over on our platform, teaching us about education and other aspects of life. So at this moment, I'll call on Professor Dr. Ravinda Rena to give us his thought on holistic education as part of or a way to management and development. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a proud privilege for me to be part of this International Internship University Forum and the family group of different intellectuals, probably joined here from different corners of the world. From Croatia, I can see Nada is there, and from India, Dr. Kalyani is there, and probably from our beloved speaker and the Professor Charles Siboria is there. And Confidence, thank you very much for that wonderful introduction about me. I should also thank all the other, IIU top executives, Mr. Pish Pandit, a younger brother, and the co-founder of this IIU, and all other dignitaries from different corners of the world, Dr. Satnam from UK, and so on. Ladies and gentlemen, it is absolutely an important topic that we chose, that holistic education, a key and an effective tool for the development and the management. So this is very pertinent, actually, particularly for the African continent. I just, in the interest of time, I would like to unpack some of the issues pertaining to Africa. In the whole world, we got the population of about 7.9 billion people today. Out of that 7.9 billion people, in Africa, we live about 1.3 billion people. From this 1.3 billion people, ladies and gentlemen, that is equal to the population of all of India, or India has got a little bit more than the whole African continent population. So we have 55 countries in Africa, and we got 1,225 universities and colleges, higher education, tertiary institutions in African continent. So from this, if we look at the number of students that are studying in African continent, is probably about 15.5 million people. So that means that about 6.6% of the students learning in higher education institutions in African continent. Whereas in the whole world, the population students learning at higher institutions is probably about 230 million people. That is probably close to the population of Pakistan and a little bit more than Nigerian population. So this is the entire population structure of the students at the higher education institutions among all the 25,000 universities across the globe. So that is the total number that we have. When it comes to African continent, our students are unable to pay their fee, and they are unable to educate themselves, particularly with the degrees, diploma, certificates, and the master's degrees, PhDs, and so on and so forth. So this is what is happening. This is the sad part of it. So we got only 6.6%. Our population from African continent, we contribute about 18% of the 16 to 18% of the total population of the globe, but our higher education students are less than 7%. So we need to look at that. Now, the IIU is a platform where these young generations, probably there are students in different age groups that we have, they can always come to this platform, learn something, earn something, and empower us with the knowledge and the wisdom which is required for every human being in this world. So the platform IIU that is providing for the students in African continent, students from developing world, because if we look at the entire globe, out of 200 countries that we have in the world, we got only 1/3 of the globe is developed countries or north countries, remaining all are in south countries. No matter Nigeria is in the northern part of African continent, but still we are in the south, meaning that we are still in the developing world. So 2/3 of the globe, more than 75 to 80% of the population and the countries and the students and the universities in the whole world are centered in developing countries. So Africa in general is a developing country. There is no single country in African continent is considered to be a developed country, including South Africa, where I'm staying here as the IIU country director. South Africa, in terms of the educational institutions like UCT, University of Cape Town is considered to be the Harvard of Africa, and it's the #1 African institution in the continent. But we do have Witwatersrand University, we got Stellenbosch University, we got University of Pretoria, we got Northwest University, and University of KwaZulu-Natal. In the top 10 ranking institutions from Africa probably 7 or so coming from South Africa alone. It doesn't mean that South Africa is a developed country. It is also a developing country. Maybe it's a probably upper middle income country in that sense. So this is the kind of structure that we have.
Hey, princess.
Now, in order for us to move to a next generation of probably the youth that we wanted to see, what do we need to do? The universities, there are so many African students, they are going to UK, probably Europe and America, Australia, New Zealand on regular basis. Billions and billions of dollars are being spent on their education. Now, how many people could able to afford to go? Not even 0.5% people can go. What is going to happen to the rest of the students? So we need to think about that, ladies and gentlemen. So education is considered to be the powerful instrument. It's a powerful device that can change the lives of different people from different socioeconomic backgrounds. For instance, if we look at a scavenger son can become a medical doctor through education only. There's no other way. An agricultural farmer's son can become a mining manager. And a clerk or a driver's son can become a president of a nation. So everything is possible through education. So education can become a cornerstone of socio-economic development. But education is getting far from the common man. So we need to bring the education closer to the people. Now, what is the mechanism that we adopt? We are talking about fourth industrial revolution, virtual realities we are talking about. We are talking about blockchain. We are talking about artificial intelligence. We are also talking about machine-to-machine learning and machine-to-man learning. So there are so many things are happening for the past few years. But are we ready in Africa to deal with that kind of changes that we are experiencing today in the rest of the world? Ladies and gentlemen, this fourth industrial revolution as part of the advanced education system is been confined only to few countries. Even in the developed countries that we see, probably more than 35 countries considered to be developed countries, not all those 30 countries are still not ready with the fourth industrial revolution and the way that they need to advance. Only South Korea, Japan, Germany, and USA, some portion of UK, these are the only countries that they're ready with the fourth industrial revolution. What is going to happen? Now, we are not even thinking about Africa. Africa is rich in terms of the natural resource base. There is no other continent in the world. For instance, European continent, it is a continent which is about close to 10 million square kilometers land. Whereas in African continent, we got 31 million square kilometers land, meaning that we in Africa are 3 times bigger than whole European continent. Europe is like any other state in Nigeria, any other province in South Africa, or any other state in Ethiopia, actually. So, but people are forgetting about Africa. We need to think about Africa because the future of the world economy is centered in African continent. Why I'm saying this point? Because the precious metals that we talked about, diamonds, 55 to 58% of the diamonds of the world are deposited, centered in African continent. Go to Liberia, maybe looking like a poor country. Go to Congo, come to South Africa, go to Nigeria. So we have a lot of diamonds, ladies and gentlemen. And talk about the gold. Gold is also one of the precious metals, and the Indians are more crazy about the gold. And probably 37% of the total gold consumption is consumed by the Indians alone. So gold is coming. About 55 to 60% of the total gold of the world is coming from African continent. And we have countries like probably Nigeria is the largest producer of petroleum products. We have a few other countries like Angola and so on, Chad to some extent, Sudan to some extent. Now, we do have the precious resources, but the people of Africa is found to be poor because of number of socio-economical, political reasons. So we need to uplift that. In order to uplift the people, you don't pull the people with the legs. You need to pull the people with the hand. When you pull with the hand, you will try to empower the people actually. If you pull with the leg, you are going to ruin them, you are going to destroy them. So Africans are such a loving people. I've been living in Africa for more than 22 years of my career, and probably 24 years of my foreign service when I spent in Africa. So I know Africa, what it is all about. So therefore, we need to look into that aspect, ladies and gentlemen. And in the interest of time, I would like to cut short stating that learning is not one-day process. Learning is a lifelong process because life always teaches us every single day new things, new challenges, new problems. So therefore, every one of us should become like a student. I got a student, PhD students between the age group of 35 to 64 years of age. The eldest student that I'm supervising for the PhD, they are 64 years of age group. And most of the students or most of the faculty members working in this 1,225 universities in African continent, not even 10% of them, they have the PhD degrees. Many of them, they have only bachelor's degrees or honors degrees or maybe master's degrees. So we need to empower them. In order to empower them, we need to use the platforms such as this, MOOC. We need to have the open learning platforms. We got MIT, for example, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which is considered among the top 5 universities in the world. They have more than 9,000 courses. They are freely available. So we need to look into that. We need to empower our people by providing the online courses and also online access. So that is why the IIU, the International University Internship University, is there for us. So we need to utilize the resources of this institution, and we need to utilize the probably the qualified professors that we have. So that is how we can try to provide the learning opportunities for our students, and we try to empower Africa because, as I said, that the future of Africa future of the world is in the hands or within the African continent, ladies and gentlemen. With this few remarks from my side, I'd like to thank the conference organizers and particularly Prof. Charles for initiating. And I'm also going to initiate probably very soon for South Africa that we are going to have a similar workshop probably in a few weeks' time. So I would like to thank once again everybody to take part, and let us probably enjoy this African celebration. Thank you very much.
Wow, another great personality and great speech and delivery from Professor Reina. Thank you. You've been wonderful. I've been following you, you and Professor Charles and Professor Jad Akama. You are my inspiration. And I can't forget Nadat. She's one of the kind as well. I've been following all of you, and I can say you all are great speakers. You do what you tell us to do, and that's the most important. Once we see you do what you are telling us to do, then it means that's the reality. But in a case where you tell us what we need to do and you do otherwise, then it means we are being misled. But that's not on part of such a great personalities that I always know. And I hope to learn more and more. Thank you. That's a great speech. Let's applaud him for his great delivery this evening, this afternoon, as we are on the African. I hope you are all enjoying. This is the African version of the IIU, and we want to actually let you know that the African version is also the nicest and the spicy one that you need to look out for. And whenever you hear of the African version, you leave everything of yours and try to follow us because we are spicy and we are ready to actually add to the great objective of IIU Global. Thank you very much. So I have another wonderful presenter. He is a chaplain. He is a professor, not just a professor. He's through academics and social life. He is also a doctor. He has so many degrees in all diverse in terms of economics, geography, in terms of conflicts, peace, and all humanity, like humanitarian, he is there. He has been wonderful. He's even let me just say a man of God, which means that he's invested in the word of God. So he blend the religious life to the real life to make it a holistic, which is actually what we are talking about. Something being holistic, make completely, looking at all diverse of a life to make life purpose more accurate. Talking about my professors with their bio, I think that one alone can even take each of them 5 minutes to complete. So with that, I'm just pinpoint of the great things that they have been doing. So not much wasting time, I'll call on Chaplain Professor Dr. Jad Akama Onyari to actually take us through on the topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Confidence, for that elaborate introduction. And I will sincerely say that I've got confidence in the way you have introduced me. No wonder you have the name Confidence. And I want to thank you, the organizers of this meeting.
Thank you.
And I also want to thank the International Internship University because you have given us a platform to speak and give our opinions so that we can be able to change humanity. And I want to associate myself and thank Professor Dr. Ravinda Rena for having spoken much about and good about Africa. I give you a salute. And I want to say this, that Africa has contributed immensely to the human civilization. Civilization began in Africa, the cradle of mankind. And Africa is the only continent which has never used any human being for free labor, cheap labor. Africa, go in history and study. Africa is the only continent which has not gone to another continent to root and steal their resources. You have said that the resources in the world in this point in time is in Africa. We are proud because our resources are intact. Oh, it has been taken, but our own might has been replenishing the continent of Africa with these resources. We are proud because we are having young people. The young population, if you come in Africa, you find them. And then any nation and country and part of the world where you go and find the young people, you are assured of the future. There is no doubt Africa is rising. As more people are now coming and scrabbling to Africa, we are only asking you come and we move together as partners. Let them not do what they have done in the past. That's not what I was going to present, but I was trying to thank Dr. Ravinda for having said that. We are talking about holistic education, a way to effective development and management. And I want to quote Sister Ellen G. White in her book, Education. She has said that education is a means more than a certain course of study. It means more than a preparation for the entire life now is. It has to do with the whole being of a person and the whole period of existence possible to man. It is the harmonious, get this one, it is the harmonious development of the physical, the mental, and the spiritual powers. That's all education is. And if you find education which deals with only the physical, that is not education. If you find the one dealing with mental, that's not education. If you find the one dealing with about the spiritual power, that's education. It must be harmonious. And after having said that, when it is harmonious, and if I use my country as a case study, when the colonial masters went, they left out the education that we have to have white-collar jobs. And we embarked on that. And the moment in my country, there is a conversation, an engagement, and a discussion, and a debate. Do we need to move this to competence-based curriculum so that we can be able to identify talents of the young people when they are still at a tender age? So if we go by the definition of Sister Ellen White, I can say that holistic education can be a concept or philosophy of educating the whole person. We must look for this whole person. Even if he does not succeed mentally, then there's something he can do spiritual. Even if he does not succeed in one element, then he can be able to be used with the third. That is what holistic education is all about. However, most teachers play a central role in enacting learning policies, and they have the greatest opportunity to help students discover their identities and find meaning in the community and the world connection through the holistic teaching methods. Why am I making this? Education without character is like a ship without a compass. So education must give you character, and this character must be taken in a whole person. And that's why I like the definition of Sister Ellen G. White. It talks about it is harmonious. They must blend spiritual, mental, and physical. It must apprehend to make this person a good person. After having given that kind of a definition of what an holistic education is, then we are talking about development. What is this development? Development is a process that creates growth and progress in a society with an ultimate aim of improving the quality of life of the people. We have prepared this person through the harmonious education that is mentally, physically, and spiritually. Then we can be able to introduce this person to the society so that they can be very meaningful in the society. And when it does this, that's what we talk about development. When we talk about development here we are talking about improving the qualities of life of the people in terms of infrastructure, in terms of environment. If education has entered properly into our heads, we cannot be able to destroy the environment. We have destroyed the environment. Climate change is causing disaster, is killing humanity. And when we look at the previous, and that's why I like Dr. Ravinda with the presentation unit, the people who lived before us, they never destroyed the environment because they had proper education. They knew the future generation is coming, and that's what we talk about, sustainable development. We use the resources of today without compromising the future generation of using the same resources. Our men, our forefathers and mothers, they use these resources and they hand it over to us. What are we handing over to the next generation? If you purport and masquerade that you have been educated, you cannot destroy the environment. It is like now getting all our children and we kill them. And remember, the world is focusing, taking 15 years, focusing on sustainable development. Why? Try to correct the mess we have created. How has education helped you if your next neighbor sleeps hungry and walks naked, and that's poverty? How can you say that you are educated when there is hunger in the world? How can you say you are educated when you don't appreciate gender equality? How do you say you are educated when we destroy the environment, and that lives therein when we destroy with nature? And remember this, if you are educated, we must be able to hand over the future, the society with all its resources intact. And I always say, and always so quote me, that if there's anything that you have to do this world, don't do anything. Live it the way you found it. It will be a better world. Just live there, use all the resources, but don't plunder. And that's why I say education, holistic education, must be harmonious to blend between the physical and the mental and the spiritual. What about management? Management is a process of planning. And if you want to fail in life, don't plan. It is about the decision making. This is what this holistic education will do. It will enable us to plan for ourselves and for future generations. And when we do this, then we can be the engineers or the architecture of sustainable development. If in management we get this holistic education, it will assist us to organize. And the time has come, Dr. Ravinda, I want to share with you that Africa, Charles and Pro Confidence and my fellow friends who are here, Africa's time has come for us to stop organizing. Yes, it is true, we have been used as cheap labor. In the past, we have been taken as slaves. We worked for other continents, we developed them to be what they are today, and that they have no shame to have at Africa. And I always ask you, give us your young men and women. They come to Africa with intact resources. They work for 400 years and you walk from your grave and find that Africa is the same. We are saying that Africa should be spared by taking care of our resources. And that's why I'm saying, and I want to say that Africa, what we want is honest partners. That's what makes us humanity. People with holistic education, holistic knowledge, insight, people who are having harmonious development of the mind, the physical and the spiritual. You cannot be able to take people for granted. This education and the management will make us to have proper leadership. It can motivate us. It can control us, our human souls. We can take care of our financial resources, and we need not to talk about corruption in Africa. We get all our resources, which are branded, and the people who are laughing at us, our leaders, steal the resources from the continent of Africa because they have not gotten holistic education. And where do? They put in offshore accounts. Where are the offshore accounts? Are they in Africa? Time has come, Charles and my friends, and those people, we share the same thinking of saying that African, we have never been less. What we are only asking is for fairness and for our inherent beginning to be respected, and we can rise and like anybody else. So that's what I need to present. I didn't know to give you much, and if I recommend you, you read this book of Sister Ellen G. White on education, and you ask yourself how I would want to bring development of the physical, of the mental, and the spiritual. This is what will make man. This is what will give us character. This is what will make us that we have got a common destiny. We have got the same planet. The effects of climate change that does not spare Africa. And time has come, does not spare Africa or Europe or Asia or America. And time has come for us to raise our voice and say the countries which are violators of the climate change, who are destroying the environment. And by the way, these countries which are purporting to be talking about climate change, you say they are well educated, they have got proper education, they have got proper education technology, because climate change does no boundaries. It will never spare America, neither will it spare Europe, neither will it spare Africa, whether will it spare Asia, Australia, Latin America. We are in this business. How I pray that we embrace holistic education. We can be able to propel this continent into another level. We will leave it better than we found it. I submit.
Hey, nigga.
Okay, so thank you, Professor Dr. Jared Okama Onyari. So next on the speakers list we have. Sorry, my name is Dabo Seyao. I'm also a co-host for this conference from Ghana. So next on the speakers list, we have the Deputy Country Director of International Internship University Ghana, the person of Mr. Confidence, J. And as we all know, he's a certified professional master mindset life coach. He's a career person. He's a business and entrepreneurial coach. Yes, he's a CPD. He's a world leading. He's a life coach with experience in resort and direct counseling positions. Without further ado, I'd like to give the opportunity for Mr. Confidence to also talk to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Greetings to everyone, and I want to appreciate the earlier speakers. They've said a lot. They spoke my mind, but I still have little to also add up so that we'll be able to complement one another. The platform is just here to bring on board the knowledge that we have as individual and make it holistic. So first and foremost, we need to understand the keywords in our topic, which is first holistic, second education, third management, and fourth development. These are great 4 keywords that are put together through a relationship or a link to be able to give us a topic. So when we talk about something holistic,
the topic?
the topic is holistic education, a way to
Okay.
yeah. So now, when we talk about holistic, it's just simply something that is complete, something that is in totality, something that is complete and something that is in totality. Now, when we talk about education, we all know it's a continuous process of acquiring knowledge. Continuous process of acquiring knowledge, which means that knowledge, wherever you aim at acquiring knowledge, wherever, no matter where you are, whom you are taking it from, where you are taking it from, and when you are taking it, is termed as education. So with that, when we talk about education should be a holistic, in the part of, I will concentrate globally before narrowing myself to the African continent. So when we talk about the holistic education, first and foremost, we all have the mindset that whenever you are attending school, the purpose of
Your
attending
English
school
is too good.
Can you please mute yourself?
the purpose of we attending school is to actually be employable. So everybody geared the mind towards employability skill. So whenever they finish, they are sitting down waiting for a company to actually employ them. Then now this is a rising case from companies where in their adverts or vacancies, they always say that we need an individual with experience of 3 years in this, 5 years in this, and 10 years in this. So I asked myself, which company is established to provide experience to individuals for another company to actually employ them? There is no organization that is established so to provide experience to somebody for which another one should employ as an experienced person, if I'm not mistaken. So which means that automatically every company is supposed to employ somebody and give that person an experience. But this is the case, no company is waiting to employ somebody who is new for it to gain experience, but rather they are looking for experienced human beings. So I now come into myself and I say, wow, this is just an indication that the type of education that we are in need of is not just about the theory, what we learn on paper, what we learn in books, what we hear from people, but we must actually practice. It should be pragmatic, which means that whenever we are into education, then the both sides should be looked out to. That's one, the academic aspect of life. Two, and the other aspect which consists of the social life, the emotional life, the financial lives, and other lives that needed to complement the academic. Now, we talk about management. In management, some people automatically are born to be in managerial positions. They are born to be in managerial positions. Others emulate and learn to be able to be managers. Now, there are two differences between you being born to be in a managerial position as well as somebody who is being observed, who observe or learn to be in managerial position. But the only common element that the two of them have is education. You are born to be in a management position, still you need education. The same thing if you are learning to be in managerial position, you still need education, which means that education is the key to any management practice as well as acquiring management skills. So with the platform of IIU, I was so happy when I got introduced, when I actually got introduced from a mentor to be part of the International Internship University. And I said, wow, this platform that we are looking for to actually learn and also teach others to understand the purpose of what? Education. To understand the purpose of education. So now, the other part of the world, which is derived from African, they have the mindset knowing that education is supposed to be in holistic. Now, Africans have been positioned, their mind have been positioned in a situation that whenever they are going into education, the focus should always be what? Employability. So they have focused their mind and they have enslaved their mind, their thinking capacity, which have given rise to what? Unemployment in Africa today. But this is the time that automatically conscious effort and accurate management, okay, effort and accurate management leads to development. Now, development is subjective. Something that someone sees as development, another person does not see it as a development. That's why there are elements that we need to use to measure. Because what you are seeing that, oh, today, oh, I think this country is developed. You have gotten your own criteria for management, like managing, or criteria for determining what a development means to you. So which means that in this life, development is subjective. So everybody have his or her way of measuring development. So it's a subjective. That one we cannot contest it. And we cannot have an accurate level that actually this person is developed. No, it's subjective to each and individual. But in terms of education, everyone can measure your educational literacy. When somebody is educated, we all know. If somebody is uneducated, we all know. So which means that the key linkages between a development and management is still education. The education provides you with what? The necessary managerial skills to be able to what? Develop. And in implementing the various managerial skill or developmental agendas, you still need education. What is the focus now for Africans? I'll use myself as an example. I started my tertiary education around 2011. I focused and I said, oh, I'm going to do accounting. So the first day in lecture room, they introduced me to a principle of accounting. After a few hours, I said, wow, this is an interesting topic. What must I do? Then let me go out there and practicalize what I learned in theory. So I decided to solicit for organizations. Since no organization is going to employ fresh graduates like me with that experience, I used them. The first thing they taught me how to like they said, liability plus claims, like asset equal to capital, all those things, we learn it. Oh, then I went to practicalize it on the on the job market. But looking at it, I saw that hey, the theory that they provided me, in terms of the practical, there is a vast difference in it. So I took a step and I said, no, I'm going to actually understand. When I went there, I always learn ahead. This brought me, and I was able to form my company known as Nexus Professional, which is actually a business consulting firm in accounting, finances, business development, interpersonal development, branding, and others. So with that one, I didn't wait for any company to, because my education that I focus on is not limited to what? A one-sided, but it was actually limited to what? A holistic. So with that, I've diversified myself into any kind of portfolio that will help individuals. With the same capacity, I imbued in others that, hey, look at education, that you are not doing it for somebody. People go to school just because of their parents. Their parents want them to go to school. Others go to school because they just feel like going to school. And majority go to school because they don't know the reason why they are going to school. So with all those things, there must be a reason for each and everybody to know that education is the key. People now can tell you that they see education as a scam.
Wow, what a
Because
good story. I'm very inspired.
they see education as a scam because they see that, oh no, even those who are not going to school, they are being empowered than the academia. But they have forgotten that we have a complement of emotional quotient or emotional intelligence to complement what? Intelligent quotient. But they only look at the IQ. Oh, if the person is academically inclined, it means automatically the person will be successful in life. Forgetting the other side, which is how to build a network, how to have a relationship, personal relationship with people that have already made it in the industry. All these things coming together gives us a holistic education. In this, if we are able to accomplish it, you can see that we don't need any expertise from any other aspect of life, but we as an African, as well as a brother and sisters to other continents, we could also come out with our own way or our unique way. There's different in every business. Copying is good. So sometimes when I see people copying and they thought that is bad, it's like copying is actually good. But when you are copying, you don't copy blindly, but you copy and adapt. When you copy and adapt, it means you are a step ahead of the person you copy from, because you copy the same thing the person did and you add something to it. So it turns out that you are blended, and at the thing, success is our person. So I'll just leave us with a simple quote: let's start right. And before you start right, you need education. And each and everybody need education. Education is limitless. Don't tell me that your age determines the level of your education. I see professors, yes, people are inclined. Academic is good, but we must also add other aspects to it, which is the emotional, the social, and other aspects of life to make living success. Thanks to the global team of International Internship University for this particular program. And I love you all. Thank you. God bless you all.
All right, so thank you, Mr. Confidence J, for this great talk. So next on the list, we have Mr. Rocklin, Mr. E.K. Rocklin. He's a graduate of the University of Professional Studies, and he's a transformation actor. He's a certified professional master mindset life coach, right? So, and he also doubles as a member of the team from Ghana. All right, so over to you, Mr. Rocky.
Sorry, Mr. Rocklin is not around, but please kindly follow the PDF so that you will not miss out. It means as if you are following the profile of the people rather, but it should be the PDF rather, so that we will not miss out with. Because the next on the line is Evangelist Princess Barbara Amaka. She's actually the next person to speak. So kindly give us a brief background about her so that she can take over. Sorry for that.
Okay, sorry for the inconvenience. Okay. All right, so shall we welcome Evangelist Princess Barbara Amaka from Nigeria to also talk to us. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening.
Good evening.
Well, you left out my surname, actually, Odo. You actually left out my surname.
Well noted.
Oh, sorry. That's the most important.
No troubles. I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much for this honor. I'd like to thank the Almighty God for such a privilege, and the management of the IIU. Happy birthday again, Nada.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very well then. I can't hear anything. It's like it's frozen.
Yeah, but we can hear you. I think
Hello?
the bandwidth from your end. We can hear you.
Oh no. Is it frozen?
Yes, I think your bandwidth is not strong. So if you can position yourself, but we can hear you.
Okay, all right. So very quickly, it's like there are two persons here who have set quite close to a number of things I'd like to share with us today. Basically, and that will be confidence and I think Dr. Jared, something like that. Well, I had looked at it basically from looking at the key elements in today's topic, so to speak. What we have here, we have holistic education, and what we're trying to look at basically is a way to effective development and management. And I said, I tried to look at education, and I put down that education is a process of receiving or given, a systematic instruction, so to speak. And it's something that is a process. We never know it all, and we can never know it all. It's a process that continues even in the most informal places or situations. We keep getting informed and informed and informed. Even, very rarely things we expect to come across, basically. And then I did also look at holistic. What is holistic? It is characterized by the belief that of an entirety away from parts, pieces. It's a holistic. Then I ask myself again, can we really get all of this? Can anyone be so holistic? That brings us to education. It's a process. It's an ongoing thing. And it becomes more holistic when we put humanity to it. Now, I looked at management, and I looked at management as the process of maybe dealing or handling, so to speak. There again. Then I looked at development. Then development came across to me as a process of developing or being developed, like growth, enlargement, and maybe evolution. I think, is this frozen? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, ma'am.
Okay, I'll just be where I am. I'll be standing. Is that okay?
No, actually, there's a network issue from your end. If you can put off your video, your order will be very clear.
If I can do what?
If you can switch off your video, I think it's going to be very clear, your audio. Sometimes it is, it's just.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'll put up the video. Okay, so we'll make do with the voice. Thank you. So I began to look at these features, but I thought this will be incomplete also if we didn't look at what science is. And then science came across to me as the intellectual and practical activity of, encompassing the systemic study of structure and behavior, basically observation, experiments, and all of that. So I look at it from the perspective of the general observation that education is worthwhile when it is used to advance humanity. When it's used to advance humanity's social, economic, and political progress. And someone came to mind, Bernard Shaw. He says progress is impossible without change. And those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the center of all of what we are all gathered here to talk about. What do I mean by this? You and I, the human person, advancing humanity, which is the basics for me for why education becomes sacrosanct. So I look at the person. Who is the person? The person is the mind. The person is the body. The person is the social factor. And sometimes maybe you can use them interchangeably, And I also looked at holistic education as it instills curiosity and, for better development of, communication and social skills, a natural way of learning and engaging. So this brings me to, what are the futures of, the learning and engaging? May I go on?
Yes, continue, please. Yes.
Okay. So I look at it, what are the features? I looked at emotional development, I looked at social development, I looked at physical development, and I looked at cognitive development. And if holistic education is something that should mean exactly what the important, if it's something that should exactly mean what it is to you and I, what it is to me and what it is to you, then I like to relate it to a new movement that has become phenomenal. If we must move on, if we must identify with what holistic education actually is, or what it tends to be. Now, we're going to look at how, what identity and purpose of life through connections to their local community has to do with this, because we're talking about the human person. Now, Professor Jarrett said earlier, something, he harped on humanity. And I looked at it a few days ago and I said, look, there will not be a holistic communication if there's no soul in it, because the center of all of it that we're gathered to talk about here is the person. So the soul of the person is what we're relating to, is what we're trying to align with, is what we're trying to refine. Now, the human person, as you and I am a Nigerian. Confidence, you're a Ghanaian. Culturally, we have our differentials, and this can vary from time to time. And I began to think, how do we come to a common place of agreement or in agreement if we do not see the soul in humanity? And then I looked away for a bit and I thought, well, the only way that humanity can advance is when we begin to identify with the right things, with purpose in life. Now, this takes me to God's word. You know, in the beginning, when he made Adam, he put Adam in the Garden of Eden. And then he gave him instructions on what to do, how to live, how to relate. Adam was surrounded with animals, both reptiles and all sorts of it, flying birds and all of it. So if Adam had not been adequately instructed, educated, sensitized, Adam would have lost the core purpose, why God placed him as man within animals, bird, and perhaps fishes, and the rest of them. Am I being heard?
Yes, we hear you. Yes.
Great. Then, so I looked at it, I said, holistically, God must have looked at so many other things. He must have concluded on so many things for him to have made man, put man above animals, which means man had a lot more than animals would. Man can control, man can take charge, man can manage, man can develop, which brings man to a greater, makes man a higher being that has been inculcated with strong managerial skills. So I thought, if God has given Adam such, how does Adam take that to the next level? Adam began to think outside, within the purview of the portfolio and powers that has been given to him. What do I mean? Adam started a relationship with all that has been put around him and under him. And what will that mean for Adam? Adam needed to understand. He needed to start understanding everything that has been put around him and under him. What does this mean? Adam needed to empathize. Adam needed to understand purpose. Adam needed to identify with his core. Adam needed to develop beyond the raw materials, the rawness of what he had been given. So what comes to mind? Refinement. If refinement comes to mind, if we were given a child to teach in school, for instance, this child has never had formal education. This child has depended only on environment, and that brings him to observation or brings her to observation, just solely that. This child has never been within the four walls of, Dr. Ravindra's class, for instance. This child depends on the parents as his or her immediate or first tutors in life. Does that make parenting a great task? Yes, that makes parenting a great task. What do I mean by this? The parent is wired to be sensitive to the upbringing of a child or word under his or her or both, tutelage, so to speak, because it's about that. The parent is wary of not going outside, big negative behaviors, so that the child does not pick the wrong things. The parent is meant to understudy when the child makes some signs, and he or she's meant to understand the signs, meant to understand the language of a child, so to speak, the psychology of the child, the spiritual well-being of the child, and what have you. The parent is meant to go into the child's mind without having to physically go there, but begins to, empathize by sign or whichever way you choose to look at it. Now, when this child gets to a point, we know that the psychology of the child, children can be pretty naughty. It's a natural thing with them. They can be pretty mischievous, but the parent is also expected to understand this about the child. Now, when the child goes naughty or thereabout, the parents will find maybe a different way, will move away from perhaps a way he or she has been dealing with the child in order to either correct or bring the child to a learning point whereby the child can move away from point A to point B. And then you find that this parent, at some point, in order to test that which has been inculcated in this child at some point, either begins to, do things such as maybe test the child with various things. Now, when this parent does this, the parent expects to know if that which has been taught like a week ago or 2 weeks ago has been caught, taken in by this child. However, if this child has not taken that quite in, the parent begins to the parent becomes a bit more worried. How do I go to the next level of actually having this child to take this in? This takes the teacher away from just teaching, but begins to look at the learning ability of the child. Now, if this child is unable to pick, the nature of the parents will be to get worried. But the nature of the teacher, perhaps the teacher may be worried, but the teacher would need a bit more of psychology, to begin to go further with this child. Now, if this child becomes too adamant to learn, I, as a parent, I'll get worried. So what do I begin to look at? I begin to look at a different way to do what? To make this child a better person. Perhaps I need to begin to find something that might be more interesting to this child, or a more interesting way to make this child learn that which I want this child to learn. So, however, this brings me to understanding the needs of evaluation, the test or reappraisal of whatever has been inculcated in perhaps a student or a child, if the person is not quite quick to learn. This brings me to interaction, leveling with whoever it is that I'm teaching, or whoever this parent the parent is parenting, or whoever this teacher is teaching in class. Interaction beyond formally teaching a child is very, very important. It will help this child become more comfortable with whomever this teacher is. It will help this the child, in the case of special, unique children, it will help this child become more psychologically in tune with his or her environment, which can aid faster learning in due course. However, what am I talking about in a nutshell? It is important that any teacher should actually empathize, listen up, be more analytical, be more passionate, and then learn to build on relationship and greater communication skill in order to have a more holistic, approach to education, which can bring about human development, space development, and management of resources and the rest of it. Otherwise, whatever has been put out there, whatever it is that are the raw materials, for instance, that the earth has given to us, will be wasted if we're not able to tap into the soul and the mind of the learner. Thank you.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Oh, you are really a chaplain. Last time I think she was telling us something concerning being chief in I forgot the aspect. But being chaplain and princess, you see that it's being written all over her. Even in her delivery class shows that she is a princess. Well done, well done, well done. God bless you. We would love to hear you more often, as we always gear towards your. So at this moment, we are going to give a few minutes to the IIU Global to show us a little video on or advert that they have concerning IIU. So thank you very much as we await that simple video. So she is currently working on it. So let's be patient for. It will just take a little. So as they are preparing our next speaker, we all know. So we'll introduce him then so that just after the advert or the small video, he can take over and lead us through. So as it's time, we have our next speaker, who is Mr. Moses Adileke. I hope I pronounce it well. Yes, he's.
Driving.
Yeah, thank you. He is a friend, he is a colleague. He is an African. So automatically we have the African blood in him. He has been wonderful in delivering so many. He is in diverse into education, with MED in education, that's Masters in Education, and other qualification in education. He has been in the education industry for quite long. He have knowledge in all aspects. So it's just good here that he is here to share the knowledge that he have acquired throughout the years in the educational sector. So after the advert, we can now call on Mr. Moses Adekele to actually give us his thought. Thank you. Now that we are waiting.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm grateful for the privilege to be one of the speakers for this great topic. A lot of people have spoken well, which, can you hear me, please?
Yes, yes, we hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. And a lot of speakers have spoken well. And one of the things I noticed is that most of our speakers are not actually following the rules. And 15 minutes allocated for each speaker, but I discovered that some have not yielded to the instruction. I won't take much of your time because a lot has been said. I will only bring out 4 points, then I will round up with the conclusion. When I was trying to be wrong spelling in quote about how holistic is being spelled, but I won't dwell more on that. Later on during the day, I will upload my paper. You can check that out on the website if you choose. Let me start my first point by saying that just as Aristotle find it difficult in defining education, I believe I also find it very difficult to define what holistic education is. But I believe that holistic education is an adjective word, and I describe it as related to a whole, including or involving all of somebody's physical, mental, and social condition, not just physical symptoms in the treatment of illness. That will be my first point. Then I go with what I said, holistic education. Holistic education see the aspect of humans as the whole, greater than the sum of its parts, and that the whole system approach require moving from the limitation, similar approach to more intensive and complex view. Holistic education is the most defensible, practical, and effective approach to developing well-balanced and healthy people who can be value contributors to the society according to their potentials and opportunities available to them. It will draw upon the philosophical, religious, psychological, and educational literatures to make a case that holistic education presents the most comprehensive solution to the educational concern facing humanity. Holistic education has emerged out of a need to address growing disappointment with the current outward dysfunctional approaches to further individual and collective human interests and potentials. I came up with a point I subtitled as Holistic Principles for Development and Management. In order for me not to take much of your time, I will only speak on the subtopic. I discovered that holistic development involves the social skill, the local thinking, the cognitive skills, the creative skills, talking about the language skills, the physical skills, self-awareness, and emotional. To conclude my statement, I said, holistic education is an approach to schooling that can meet the need of all types of learners, that can be a source of fulfillment and satisfaction for teachers, and that prepares future citizens who will contribute a concern and mindfulness for others, for their communities, and for the planet. It is compassionable with both global education and environmental education, which are also based on the principle of interdependency and connectedness. Based on this interdependency perspective, holistic education lives with surrounding environment. Holistic education seeks to connect the part with the whole. We have inclines in education to forget the larger vision of wholeness and connectedness, and holistic education calls on us to restore that vision. Such a vision, of course, is a primary goal of education for sustainability. Overall, you can describe holistic education as containing the following broad characteristics. Number one, it nurtures the development of the whole person. Number two, it revolves around relationship, that is, free, open, and democratic relationships. Four, it is concerned with life experiences, talking about the basic skill. Fourth, it recognizes that cultures are created by people and can be changed by people, instead of conforming and replicating an established culture. And lastly, it is founded upon a deep reverence for life and for the unknown and never fully known. That is all for now. Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow. This is very simple but intense. And thank you for this.
Thank you so much.
Education. We are privileged to have you on board, Mr. Moses.
Thank you, sir.
You look sweet in your camera. Yeah.
And
So,
let me correct you. You did not get my name right.
Okay. It's very necessary. So we'll be glad to hear the name.
I'm Adeoye Moses Adeleke.
Oh, okay. Adeoye
Should I come
Moses
again?
Adeleke.
Yes, that's
Right?
correct.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the education.
Yes, correct.
And God bless you. Yeah, so can we have
Amen.
the video or we should continue now that?
You mean to another to put the video? Okay, let me try.
Okay.
I
We have
can.
only 2 speakers standby for which they will wrap up for today's show. So the advert is just
How many
1 to 2
speakers do
minutes.
you have yet? How many
Come
speakers?
again?
Okay. Which video do you want? From
Yeah, any
IIU
on
or Mr. Piyush Pandit?
yeah, it's on the various courses and admission on, you know, IIU Global. Yeah,
Do you see it?
sure.
When you think about university, you think of a building, books in the library, classrooms, students roaming around, teachers,
Okay.
and a huge fees to get admission. Imagine a university which is not fixed at one place, where students can study at their own ease, at their desired locations, where the curriculum is updated with the technological changes and focus on the true things which matter in life. The university which focuses on developing mindset. The university which develops skills. We are talking about the contemporary education mechanism, the virtual university. International Internship University believes in inspiring, inventing, igniting young minds, cultivating excellence in every student by enabling accessible education at their own ease through virtual internships. Virtual internships act as a gateway to a world of knowledge application that was previously held behind closed doors for the fresh graduates. The ability to meet, speak, work, and collaborate with industry professionals from a diverse range of fields, such as engineering, business management, humanitarian fields, and much more, delivers insights that the students can foster for a lifetime. It bridges the ever so glaring gap between the demands of the corporate world and the pride of academia. We invite applications for PhD, doctorate in literature, doctorate in science, LLD honors degree from experienced personnel in various disciplines who have rich experience in their respective fields. The program is offered only to a select group of accomplished individuals. As a professional, a degree or additional degree will allow you to make a greater impact. The expedient way of showing the world your knowledge, abilities, experience, and talents is with your degree and use of your titles.
Great, 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 great.
Do you want more?
Yeah. So that's a wonderful brief video on IIU, what we stand for. We are great. We want you to be our ambassador by just sharing this wonderful mission of the IIU so that globally we can impact life together. So we have another wonderful lady from the African continent, specifically the southern part of Africa known as South Africa. She's a coach which is currently building herself out to inspire young individuals. Her name is Nesago Sepecha. She's a South African lady who is inspired and passionate about transforming lives of people and also helping them to attain their highest potential. This, wow, like somebody who is in existence to be able to support others to achieve their potential. So at this moment, I'm going to call on Mesako to give us her side of the topic as we learn from her as well. Mesako, the floor is open to you.
Thank you very much. Good day to everyone across the world. Thank you very much, Confidence. The name is Masego Seopetsa. Holistic education, for me personally, I feel that the traditional way of educating learners had its own limiting it was limiting to us, because when I look at myself, I spent over 15 years of my life working but not feeling fulfilled. And if I was introduced to holistic education at a very young age, I was going to be able to choose a path that will be fulfilling to me. And it's leading us to the topic of holistic education, which is a comprehensive approach to teaching, where educators teach the emotional, social, ethical, and academic needs of students in an integrated learning format. Educators engage students in projects that apply critical thinking skills that solve real-life problems. Each child learns different things at different stages. It instills curiosity and develops better communication and social skills. It encourages children to make connection in a subject using their creative skills, which helps them develop emotional growth and making them be able to learn in a natural and engaging way. Holistic education teaches students to learn how to tackle complex tasks and build effective strategies to identify solutions. When holistic learning is introduced at an early age, it teaches children to not only care about themselves, but to care about other human beings, to understand the importance of being one with nature, and to care and love animals and the environment. It helps children to realize their potential at a very young age, to solve problems and not run away from them, which makes them responsible and accountable adults. Holistic education unlocks the creative side of the learners and helps them figure out what makes them happy and fulfilled. It places a focus on physical well-being and nutrition. And because holistic education is focused on the complete growth and health of students, it doesn't use a one-size-fits-all approach. It places emphasis on the learner as an individual, allowing them the opportunity to expand in ways that will have the most impact for them. I'm going to quote a quote from Maria Montessori that says, "Education cannot be effective unless it helps a child open up himself to life. And through holistic education, we can help each and every child learn to develop in the fullest way possible and creating a healthy community of enlightened human beings." Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Masego. Confidence, where are you? Okay, I see she has problems. Unmute yourself, please. Confidence, unmute yourself.
Hello, sorry.
Yes.
It's actually raining heavily here at my end. And by God's grace, we can still continue. So thank you, Ms. Saiko, for your great presentation. That's a wonderful presentation. Ladies are actually rocking. Wow, that's a nice one. So we have today, not the last but not the least, we have our very own brother from Ghana. He is in the person of Mr. Isaac Owusu-Obin. He has a 10 years educational experience. He teaches both the Ghanaian and the British curriculum, like education curriculum, which is actually learning how to blend it with the Indian and other aspects of the world. He's a good brother. At this moment, I'll invite, say, the children call him, say Isaac. Say Isaac to give us his thought on this. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, moderators, fellow speakers, and all present on this platform. My name, as already mentioned, is Isaac Owusu-Obin, and I'm from Ghana. I'm a primary school teacher. I have been teaching, and this is my 10th year in teaching children. So this topic, with this topic, my concern is about how holistic education impacts children. There are more than 2.2 billion children on Earth, based on my research. And at mid to 2020, about 26% of the world's population were under 15 years. So that means it is very important that we educate children, because they are about 26% of the world's population. Help the world. This is holistic education. I'll be speaking to you from research and then from the practicals that I have seen in my school and through my career as a teacher. Holistic education is a comprehensive approach to teaching where educators seek to address the emotional, social, ethical, and academic needs of students in an integrated learning format. Teachers often engage students in projects that we call project work that apply critical thinking skills towards solving real-world problems. So you have situations where you ask children to create a type of nose marks. We are doing the creative arts class. You can ask a child to create something. Maybe Veronica Ghana created an interesting version of the Veronica bucket, and the president applauded them during one of his speeches. Me, why do I say this? Some of the important aspects of holistic education are: one, it will instill the curiosity of the child and develop better communication and social skills. Two, it will encourage the child to make connection in a subject using his creative skills. So when he learns creative arts, he does creative art, he has practicals in creative arts. It will help him to solve other problems. Three, it develops a side. I've watched some of my students, my children, might be a house out of cardboard, painted it nicely. And at the end of the day, it looks so beautiful. They feel very proud of themselves. And I also feel proud of them. That builds a certain part of them where they believe that in the future they can create something bigger. Some have come to science practical class with a battery, a bulb, and they've been able to join this together, and the bulb comes on. With that, we discuss how we can package it better. And in the future, I'm sure if they go to university and learn science, they'll be one of those innovators or creators in the world of science. We don't have to have them more from the developed countries. We need to have children in the developing countries build things that we can applaud them for. Four, it makes learning natural and engaging. So we bring in ideas like scientists trying to add this here and there. It comes out naturally. Every child is trying to build a house out of cardboard, but at the end of the day, each child's own will be unique. Each child's presentation will be beautifully done according to the person's own idea of what should be done. 5, it motivates children to learn and know more. So today they know how to create things using maybe straws, the simple straws we used to drink beverages. Another time they know how to create things out of using pencil sharpness, the leftovers. They become so, they look around themselves and see that everything that's around them can be used to do something. They can be creative. So their creative potential is increased. And this we must attribute to holistic education, where we are not looking at just learning numeracy, literacy, discovery, but learning other things that will impact our lives, things that would help us to solve real life problems. Because as my brother Confidence said, people go to school to come out to get employed. But what about thinking about being self-employed? So if you learned well at school, especially vocational skills, technical skills, you can come out. I know a medical doctor who is as well a carpenter, and he's not shy to talk about that. He's not shy to say that he's able to make tables, chairs beautifully, as well as do his engage in his profession as well. So we should not deprive the children of holistic education. We should not force them to always study one particular thing. We should encourage them to be creative, to appreciate creativity, and to indulge themselves in being creative wherever they are. 6, it makes learning fun and meaningful. So I wish I had the video to show you. You see the children doing the creative arts class, they are so interested in it. They are bringing things, they are playing with it. And meanwhile, they are learning. And at the end of the day, they do create something. I don't appreciate the waste they make at the end of the day, but they end up creating something that we all applaud them for. And I'm proud of them for that. So with this, I would like to hit on some points that holistic education or holistic learning develops the child emotionally. It develops the child cognitively, that is his thinking ability. It develops the child physically, and then it develops the child socially. So we should encourage relationships across all dimensions of students' lives. We should make learning relevant to students' experiences. And we should note that holistic education brings the family to the school. So we have a situation where we have open day at school, where parents can come and see the project works that children have created and then appreciate what they have been learning at school, so that they know that when they come to school, they don't just learn the reading subjects or the calculative subjects, but they also indulge themselves in creativity. It makes the parents come to know their children better. They come to see that, wow, so my child can do this, can do that. It's not just coming home, going to school, watching television, but they do some creative stuff that if we encourage them in the future, they can be the new Henry Ford, or they can own their own company instead of looking for jobs from people. So it's important. And I vote for holistic education. In conclusion, I say I support holistic education. I believe it is an effective development and management strategy, and it will and can help children develop emotionally, cognitively, physically, and socially. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Brother Isaac. We've learned a lot from this particular program and other programs being organized by IIU. So at this moment, I want to thank each and everyone,
yes,
especially the team, IIU Global team, for this opportunity, for giving us the platform always. Earlier on, we had a challenge, but as they said, if you're able to overcome your challenge and turn it, it will become a blessing to you. And I can say that we are all blessed, and we are all able to receive a lot of insight into holistic education in diverse ways. Notwithstanding, I'll call on Nada to just give us a simple video again from our co-founder, Pius, so that we can just wrap up
Okay.
the show, and she will wrap up the show for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just a moment, please.
And also, sorry, get to know that the feedback link, do not worry. We have developed another means of getting our feedback. So everything will be communicated back to you. In terms of the certificate and others, don't worry, you will get them at the appropriate time. Just watch out. Thank you.
Piyush Pandit was born on 27th July 1987 in Pratapgarh, Uttar Pradesh, in a middle-class family. Piyush Pandit is that name who is recognized by his multiple work genres: an international social activist, award-winning social worker, serial entrepreneur, and founder of SBP Global. He has determined his destiny by having trust in him and Almighty God. Piyush Pandit is a diligent and passionate social worker committed to serve the humanity. Piyush Pandit has played a crucial role in crafting a team of volunteers and achieved global recognition as head of Swarna Bharat Parivar Trust, which span across more than 50 countries. He granted several live interviews and press conferences on rural development, access to justice, and the right to equality. Piyush is youth leader with extensive social work experience, political activism, and stellar entrepreneurial achievements. When you think of social work and changing the world by improving human experiences, Piyush Pandit comes to mind. He is proactively mentoring other social activists to encourage social activism and entrepreneurship around the world. He is working fiercely towards achieving United Nations sustainable goals in India and over the globe. Under the flawless leadership of Piyush Pandit, Swarna Bharat Parivar Trust was established. The organization strives to place the humanity at forefront and bringing back the human warmth which has lost due to busy modern life. They are fighting to ensure ending poverty, unemployment, and making society better for all. Rural India has been a focal point of Piyush, which gave birth to Help India Help Foundation. The social work continues, and the e-village was established in 2012 to reinforce India's roots in villages and villagers. At the crux of Piyush's work is the youth. He believes that youth empowerment is closely aligned with social service. Piyush is the CEO of Piyush Group. The organization covers several industries, including renewable energy, logistics, real estate, and so on. Piyush Pandit has succeeded in scaling the growth of these organizations, and his work has taken them to the multinational level. Piyush is able to form and sustain positive relationship with people. He has received a plethora of awards and recognitions in 2018 with India's Great Leader Award, India Star Book of Records in 2019, GTF World Summit Bangkok 2019, Volunteer Hero, Abad Samman Samaro, Blood Donation Award, Environmental Sentinel Award, Yuva Gaurav Samman, and Literature Confluence Award. Piyush Pandit believes in the philosophy of growing together. His slogan is, "Let's grow together and create tomorrow's entrepreneur." He has the vision to create a society that is based on freedom, equality, solidarity, diversity, and fairness.
Confidence.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that wonderful bio and life history of our co-founder. We thank you for the great initiative, and we are also dedicated to supporting your vision to achieve the global aim. At this moment, I want to thank each and everyone, especially our admin, the IIU admin, and the back office for this great, wonderful. Our speakers, you have been great. God bless each and everyone. The participants, we have not forgotten you. You've been our motivation. Share whatever you've learned out there to the world, so that in one we can achieve the global aim. Thank you very much. See you and follow every other programs of IIU. Congrats. God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye for now. Bye.
Bye.
Where is that?